How did we get here? Hi, I'm Anthony Burris, back with you for our weekly discourse regarding life and finances with sacrifice and service. Now, in our previous talk, I mentioned that both government and our citizens are financially embarrassed due to this coronavirus. This virus is acting like a perfect storm in that with the financial, it's battering and bruising us. And like the rest of the world, the global economy is unprepared. Like most cultures, we in the Bahamas were not financially prepared because we haven't been trained in the ways of handling money. Numerous persons have lost jobs and are in dire straits as to the way forward. My heart goes out to all who are currently fighting for their survival in such an uncertain time as this. There are reports that unemployment is as high as 50% due to this pandemic. To those of us in this situation, don't give up and refer back to my earlier sets of posts on COVID-19 survival guides and follow steps as outlined to assist with easing you through these difficult times. Those of you who are still fortunate enough to have jobs, give thanks because we don't know for how long we'll retain those jobs. The tragedy for many of us who are earning a paycheck is that we are swimming in an ocean of debt. This has happened due to us not taking the time to equip ourselves with the needed knowledge for the handling of our financial resources. What's needed here is financial literacy, and you know that's my watchword. And financial literacy again is the ability to utilize your knowledge and skills to manage your financial resources for your lifetime. It is never how much you earn, but instead what you do with what you have earned. Now, certainly a large income is a wonderful thing to have, but unless one has been properly taught, it can easily be squandered away. The challenge for most of us is that parents who themselves were never taught how to handle money were in turn unable to teach us, the children, about finances as a nation and as individuals. And you know what? This is the cost for our ignorance. But I have great news for you. It is never too late to make a turnaround and begin learning how to properly manage your money. Start today by taking charge of your money. Don't let situations and circumstances control you. Begin with the philosophy like the richest man in Babylon, whose belief was that a portion of what he earned was his to keep, which means that out of every paycheck, rent collected, dividend payment, or whatever you receive, you must pay yourself first. Not your mortgage, not the tithe, certainly not your car payment or utilities, but pay yourself first. I recall a statement, it is easier to save before you start spending and extremely difficult to save after you begin spending. Consider this as your single most money action going forward. That is, paying yourself first. Systematically, you will set aside in a separate savings account 10% of your earnings. And this is to be carried out every time you receive your salary or any sort of payment. Yes, it will call for discipline. You may have to cut back in some areas to make it happen so that your goals could be, your newfound goals could be achieved. This account isn't to be touched unless it's a matter of life or death. The first goal for this account is to save $1,000. Immediately you will begin to see compounding interest go to work for you. Now, there are two types of interest. First, paying simple interest, which is usually paid on loans such as credit cards, car payments, and the likes. The second, compounding interest, is the interest paid on top of interest, such as mortgage, and that's one of the reasons why mortgage is such a dream killer. On the other hand, if you're saving money at a bank per se, they will pay you an agreed interest on your savings. And again, when the interest comes due, They will pay on your deposit, on the interest, and they'll pay that they paid last time. This way the interest is compounding, which helps your money to work twice as hard for you. In essence, compounding interest is receiving interest on top of interest. Staying with a consistent savings plan, you will begin to feel a sense of great accomplishment. Paying yourself first may be new and strange to you, but this is only the first step in your journey to financial freedom. You're probably accustomed to banks suggesting that you pay them first, or preachers saying pay the tithe first. No one's looking out for you. Therefore, it is imperative that in relations to your money, you must put yourself first. This is the securing of your future. If it is a practice of yours, give God his tenth. First, secure your tenth, because for many years you failed to look to the future, while pastors, bishops, and the like lived high on the hog as you struggle financially in this thing called life. Here's something that I wish for you to do. Whenever you get a chance, with a sheet of paper and a calculator, add up your annual salary and other earnings over the past 10 years. Take a good look at that amount. Then take a look at the amount you have saved or invested over this same period of time. Amazing, isn't it? You're wondering, where did the money go to? According to the last Bahamian Household Expenditure Survey, the average annual household income was $31,000, which amounts to $310,000 for a 10-year period. Actually, it'll be more than the $310,000 because of raises, bonuses, and other incentives, payouts. How much do you have in savings? Up to now, money has passed through your hands, and like many, there's nothing to show for it. Had you been on a savings plan, there would have been a sizable amount stashed away for investing or some other enjoyment. $31,000 a year is approximately $2,500 a month, and on a 10% savings plan will mean putting away $250 a month, which adds up to the $3,100 per year in savings. If taken to, let's say, the police credit union, where they are paying 4% interest on savings, at the end of the 10-year period, you'll have saved your $31,000, which would be your salary, and receive an additional $8,000 in interest payments for a total save of $38,706.38. Think of what you could do with that now. If at all possible, get your employer to have the 10% taken from your salary with deductions. That way there'll be no temptation to spend it. By following the 10% savings plan, your money will find a sense of purpose and less of an appetite for useless things, because things cannot fill the void in the human spirit. I'll tell you a brief but true story that bears out the point I'm trying to make, which is that the putting away the 10% every payday has nothing to do with how much you make. I once knew a gentleman who had only a 4th grade education. Due to circumstances, he left school and took a job in the pine yards of Abaco, cutting down trees in order to assist his mother and siblings. He was a hard worker and extremely industrious. The pay was small, but he was able to send the money back to Nassau for his mother and siblings. He opened a savings account at the local post office, and every payday he paid himself first. After a while, he returned to Nassau. With his savings, he bought a small piece of property on Nassau Street, where he built a house for himself and his new bride. He religiously continued setting aside 10% in savings, and as a result, he was able to purchase several more properties around the island on which he built apartments. His strategy, as explained to me, was to save and then look around for properties where owners were eager to sell due to their need for cash. He later invested in 2 gas stations. Eventually, he started a hardware store which grew by leaps, resulting with him opening a 2nd store. This gentleman with a 4th grade education passed away not long ago. During his lifetime, he was able to amass a net worth in excess of $10 million. Now, due to his lifestyle, it was not easy to tell, hey, if he was a wealthy individual. And I once inquired of him as to the secret of gaining wealth, and he stated, there's no secret. Work hard, save 10%, 10 to 20% every payday, and then look for opportunities which interest you. Now, this gentleman pointed out that education and financial literacy are not one and the same. Never mind where you are right now. It's not too late. The idea in this thing is to enjoy and not to be like most after making their final mortgage payment, retire from their jobs of 30 plus years, scratch out an existence for another 4 to 5 years, and then exit the planet. The idea of just living to pay for a house, massive credit card, and the occasional shopping trip to Miami, in my humble opinion, isn't living at all. Don't allow bills to be the controlling interest in your life. Let's live life to the fullest. And the only way to experience this is to seek freedom from debt. Time has come for us to be rid of excuses. And as an aid and encouragement to your financial journey, I am recommending that you read the book, The Richest Man in Babylon, as the book of the week. Like the last book of the week, which was Backyard Farming in the Bahamas, this is a life-changing book. And I feel so strongly about it that I'm going to approach the Ministry of Education to consider having it as a part of the BGC SC literature books. Now, as a result of this book, and upon the study of the contents that will change the lives first of those who are teaching the class, utilizing this book, and then assisting the students understanding how to get rid of that burden called debt. Further, as a result, the next generation will understandably accept that the accumulation of personal wealth as an option for themselves is an option for themselves. Money will no longer be an object only for spending. All because knowledge is power and liberation. Locate the free audio version online. You can leave comments or questions and I'll get right back to you. You can like my post, follow me, or subscribe. I look forward to sharing with you again in another post. So until then, may the God of heaven bless and prosper you.